The first white rose began to burn while the engagement orchestra was still playing. Emma Reed stood beneath a ceiling of crystal chandeliers, surrounded by politicians, business leaders, and men whose expensive jackets concealed loaded weapons. Her hand was still raised toward the central arrangement when a flame moved across the dry edge of a white petal. She had not started the fire. Gabriel Moretti had. The most feared mafia boss in Manhattan stood on the opposite side of the table, holding a silver candle lighter in one hand. Fire reflected in his dark eyes as he watched the arrangement that had cost more than most people earned in a year collapse into smoke and glowing petals. His fiancée, Celeste Voss, stared at him in horror. "Gabriel, what are you doing?" Gabriel did not look at her. He looked only at Emma. 3 minutes earlier, Celeste had dragged Emma in front of 200 guests and accused her of sabotaging the engagement decorations. Now the white roses that Celeste had demanded were turning black beneath the hand of the man she intended to marry. Gabriel lowered the candle lighter. "Remove every white rose from this estate." Nobody moved. His voice remained quiet. That made the command more terrifying. Bodyguards immediately crossed the ballroom. They tore arrangements from marble tables, pulled garlands from the balconies, and carried enormous baskets toward the open terrace doors. Celeste stepped in front of Gabriel. "Those flowers honored your mother." Gabriel finally turned toward her. "No, they honored the man who hurt her." The orchestra stopped. 100 conversations died at once. Emma felt every face in the ballroom turn toward her, but she could not look away from Gabriel. Smoke moved between them. His expression was controlled, yet she could see something violent awakening beneath his calm. He had spent his entire life believing that white roses had been the favorite flowers of his mother. Emma had needed only one hidden note to discover that they had been her warning. Gabriel came around the burning table. He stopped close enough for Emma to smell smoke on his black jacket. "You will remain in this ballroom," he said. Celeste gave a sharp laugh. "She ruined our engagement." Gabriel kept his eyes on Emma. Then the engagement was designed around a lie. The flames rose higher. Several guests stepped back. Gabriel did not. Neither did Emma. 3 days earlier, Emma had been standing inside Reed Flowers with dirt on her cheek and $43 in the store account. Her flower shop occupied the narrow ground floor of an old brick building in Brooklyn. The front window was slightly crooked. The refrigerator made a clicking sound whenever it became too cold. The gold letters on the door had been painted by her father almost 20 years earlier. The shop was not luxurious, but it was hers. Emma had inherited it after the death of her parents. She had refused several offers from developers who wanted to buy the building, even when the debts began to grow. Flowers were the one language she had always understood. People lied with words every day. Flowers were more honest. A nervous man bought yellow roses when he wanted forgiveness, without admitting guilt. A lonely woman chose lilies when she was ready to release a memory. A grieving child often reached for the brightest flower in the shop because children understood that love did not become colorless after death. Emma never judged what people selected. She only listened. That morning, a woman wearing a gray business suit entered the shop and placed a black envelope on the counter. "My name is Nora Lane. I manage private events for the Moretti estate." Emma looked at the embossed seal on the envelope. Almost everyone in New York knew the Moretti name. The family controlled shipping companies, luxury hotels, construction firms, and several businesses that were never mentioned in newspapers. Rumors connected Gabriel Moretti to disappearances, political scandals, and an underground empire that reached from Boston to Miami. Emma did not follow criminal gossip, but she knew enough to be cautious. What does the Moretti estate need from a flower shop in Brooklyn? Nora looked around the small room. Discretion. That answer should have made Emma refuse. Instead, she opened the envelope. The Moretti family needed a florist to complete the decorations for an engagement celebration in 3 days. The original designer had suddenly left the city. Emma would receive more money for one event than her shop had earned during the previous 6 months. There was one condition. She would work at the estate until the decorations were finished. Emma read the requested flower list. 3,000 white roses. No greenery. No contrasting colors. Only white. Who chose these, Miss Celeste Voss? She says they were the favorite flowers of the late Elena Moretti. Emma studied the list again. An entire ballroom filled with white roses could be beautiful. But it could also feel cold. The absence of texture and color would make the celebration resemble a funeral. Emma looked at the overdue invoices beneath the counter. When do we leave? The Moretti estate stood above the Hudson River behind iron gates and walls of dark stone. Black vehicles lined the circular driveway. Armed guards watched every arriving delivery truck. Emma drove through the gates in her old flower van. The guard at the entrance looked at the faded logo on the side, then looked at her. Deliveries use the service road. I am the florist. He looked at her loose green dress, her brown work boots, and the curves that expensive society women often treated as an offense. The family florist, the new one. He checked the tablet in his hand. Emma, read. That is me. His expression changed slightly when he found her name. Park beside the east greenhouse. Do not enter any room unless someone escorts you. Emma drove past fountains, marble statues, and gardens shaped with military precision. Everything about the estate looked controlled. Even the trees seemed afraid to grow in the wrong direction. The ballroom occupied the eastern wing of the mansion. Tall windows overlooked the river. Workers assembled a stage while decorators covered tables with silk. Thousands of white roses waited in refrigerated containers. Emma touched one bloom. The roses were perfect. That was part of the problem. They had been grown to appear identical. Their stems were straight. Their petals were untouched. They carried almost no scent. They were beautiful without feeling alive. Celeste Voss entered the ballroom while Emma was examining the flowers. She was tall, slender, and dressed in cream silk. Diamonds circled her throat. Two assistants followed her with tablets in their hands. Celeste stopped several feet from Emma. You are the replacement, Emma turned. Emma read. Celeste did not offer her hand. Nora said you could finish the installation quickly. I can. The central arrangement must be 12 feet wide. White roses only. The balcony garlands must be full enough to hide the stone railing. Emma glanced around the ballroom. May I add eucalyptus or dark leaves for depth? No. A small amount of greenery would make the roses appear brighter. I did not hire you to reinterpret instructions. Emma met her gaze. You hired me because the other florist left. The assistants became very still. Celeste smiled. But there was no warmth in it. The other florist failed to understand the importance of the occasion. I hope you are more adaptable. Emma should have lowered her eyes. She did not. She walked toward the central table and measured the space. Why did Elena Moretti love white roses? Celeste looked surprised by the question. They represented purity. Did she grow them here? Her husband sent them to her constantly. Emma paused. Constantly. After disagreements, after difficult evenings, whenever he wanted peace restored. Something about the answer unsettled Emma. Flowers sent after every disagreement were not always romantic. Sometimes they were a pattern. An apology repeated so often that the apology became part of the harm. Celeste turned away. Gabriel wants the engagement to preserve the memory of his mother. Do not complicate something sacred. The doors opened behind her. The entire ballroom seemed to react before Emma knew why. Workers straightened. Guards moved closer to the walls. Celeste immediately softened her expression. Gabriel Moretti entered, with 4 men behind him. He wore a black shirt beneath a dark suit jacket. No tie. No visible weapon. He did not need one to appear dangerous. He was taller than Emma expected. His face was sharply controlled, and a faint scar crossed the side of his right hand. Everyone watched him while pretending not to. Gabriel looked first at Celeste. Then his attention shifted to Emma. He examined her with the calm suspicion of a man deciding whether she belonged in his home. "Who is she?" Celeste approached him. "The replacement florist." Emma did not like being discussed as if she were furniture. "Emma Reed." Gabriel looked at her directly. "You have access to the East Wing for 3 days. My guards will inspect every case and container you bring inside. Then they should begin now. The roses will not survive if they remain outside their coolers." One of the men behind Gabriel raised his eyebrows. Gabriel did not. "You are not frightened of me." Emma picked up a pair of pruning shears. "I have not decided yet." For the first time, something almost human moved through his expression. Not amusement, interest. Celeste touched his arm. "Gabriel, we have a meeting." He let her guide him toward the doors. But his gaze remained on Emma for another second. That second was long enough to make her uncomfortable. It was also long enough to make Celeste notice. Emma worked until sunset. She built the central structure with hidden wire, water tubes, and layered supports. Her assistants returned to Brooklyn after the guards completed their inspections. Emma remained because the estate staff did not permit outside workers after dark. At 7, Nora brought her a tray of food. "You can sleep in the guest apartment beside the greenhouse." Emma wiped her hands. Why did the first florist leave? Nora hesitated. Miss Voss disliked his attitude. That did not answer the question. Did he resign? He left. Voluntarily. Nora looked toward a security camera in the corner. "Finish the flowers." "Miss Reed." "Then go home." Emma understood the warning. Later that night, she searched the estate storage rooms for antique vases listed on the event plan. Most were already in the ballroom. But one large porcelain vase was missing. A staff member told her it might be inside the old conservatory. The conservatory had belonged to Elena Moretti. It had been locked since her death. Emma expected a guard to refuse her entry. But the door had been left slightly open. Moonlight came through dusty glass panels. Dead vines curled around iron trellises. Clay pots remained on wooden shelves as though someone had abandoned them in the middle of a normal afternoon. At the far end of the room, Emma found the vase. It was painted with red roses. She brushed dust from the rim and noticed something folded beneath the inner base. The vase had a false bottom. Emma reached inside and removed a small envelope. The paper was brittle. A single word had been written across it. Gabriel. Emma should have placed it back. Instead, she opened it. The note was written by a woman who knew she might not survive the night. My Gabriel. White roses do not mean love. Your father sends them after he hurts me. He sent them after he broke the greenhouse door. He sent them after he locked you away from me. He sent them tonight because he knows I am leaving. Marco stopped the car once. I am afraid he will stop it again. If I do not reach the station, do not believe that I changed my mind. I am taking you somewhere safe. Remember the red roses beside the eastern wall. They grew even after he ordered them cut down. Choose what survives. Your mother. Emma read the note twice. A sound came from behind her. The conservatory door closed. She turned. Gabriel stood between her and the exit. He had removed his jacket. The sleeves of his black shirt were folded to his forearms. His expression was colder than it had been in the ballroom. What are you holding? Emma folded the note carefully. It was hidden inside the vase. He approached her. Give it to me. She extended the paper. Gabriel took it without touching her fingers. At first, his face revealed nothing. Then he reached the line about white roses. His jaw tightened. He read the name, Marco. His entire body became still. Emma watched him reach the final sentence. For several seconds, he said nothing. Then he looked at her. Who else has seen this? Nobody. Why were you here? I needed the vase for the engagement. The conservatory is locked. The door was open. It is never open. Emma looked toward the entrance. Then someone wanted me to find it. Gabriel folded the note. Or someone wanted to know what you would do after finding it. The implication chilled her. You think I planted it? I think strangers do not wander into sealed rooms inside my home by accident. I am a florist looking for a vase. You are holding a letter written by my mother on the night she died. Emma stepped closer, even though every instinct told her to create distance. Then stop looking at me as though I killed her. The silence between them changed. Most people would have apologized. Emma did not. Gabriel placed the note inside his shirt pocket. My mother died in a car accident when I was 9. Was Marco driving? No. Marco Bellini was the head of security for my father. The note says he stopped the car. Gabriel looked through the dark glass toward the river. Marco claimed that my mother was unstable before her death. He said she often threatened to leave, then changed her mind. Emma felt anger rising. A woman does not hide a final letter inside a flower vase because she is uncertain. Gabriel turned back toward her. You knew her for less than 1 minute through a piece of paper. Sometimes 1 honest minute reveals more than years of polished lies. He studied her face. Why did you ask Celeste about the roses? Because the story did not feel right. What story? A husband sending the same flower after every disagreement. Gabriel took 1 step closer. And what did it feel like? A ritual of apology. His eyes hardened. Explain. Emma knew she was entering dangerous territory. She also knew he deserved the truth. Some people use gifts to repair harm. Other people use gifts to erase it. If the same flowers arrived after every cruel act, your mother may have learned to fear them. Gabriel looked toward the painted red roses on the vase. The silence stretched. Emma could hear his breathing. Finally, he spoke. The engagement remains unchanged. She stared at him. You are still filling the ballroom with white roses until I know whether the letter is real. The handwriting is intimate. Handwriting can be copied. The vase was sealed. Rooms can be opened. Emma crossed her arms. You already believe it. His gaze sharpened. Do not tell me what I believe. Then do not ask questions when you only want obedience. Gabriel moved so close that she had to tilt her head to look at him. Men had probably stepped backward when he used that expression. Emma remained still. His voice lowered. You are inside a house where people have died for knowing less than you know now. Is that a threat? It is the first honest warning anyone has given you since you entered my gates. Emma should have been frightened. She was frightened. Yet beneath the danger in his voice, she heard something else. Protection. He was not warning her away from himself. He was warning her about everyone around him. Gabriel opened the conservatory door. You will sleep in the main house tonight. I was assigned the greenhouse apartment. That location is no longer secure. I do not need a guard outside my bedroom. You will have 2. Emma followed him into the corridor. I am not staying after the engagement. Gabriel glanced at her. I did not ask you to. The next morning, Emma replaced 6 white rose arrangements with dark red roses. She did not ask permission. The red arrangements stood near the eastern windows where the morning light touched the petals. They transformed the ballroom. The white roses no longer looked pure. They looked exposed. Gabriel entered during the installation. He stopped when he saw the red flowers. Celeste entered behind him. Her reaction was immediate. What is this? Emma adjusted a stem. Contrast. I said white roses only. The red flowers honor the eastern wall of the conservatory. Gabriel looked at Emma. The final line of the letter had remained inside his thoughts. Choose what survives. Celeste approached the nearest arrangement and pulled 1 rose free. These look vulgar. Emma took the damaged stem from her. They look alive. Celeste stepped closer. You are here to decorate my engagement. You are not here to interpret the private grief of this family. Emma saw Gabriel watching them. She also saw Marco Bellini enter the ballroom. Marco was in his 60s, with silver hair and the relaxed authority of a man who had survived beside violent people for decades. Gabriel greeted him with the smallest nod. Marco looked at the red roses. Then he looked at Emma. His reaction lasted less than a second. It was still enough. Recognition. Not of Emma. Of the flowers. Gabriel noticed it too. Marco approached. "Your mother preferred white?" Gabriel replied calmly. "Did she?" Marco smiled. "You remember the gardens." "I remember what I was taught to remember." A shadow passed across the older man's face. Celeste turned toward Gabriel. "Do not let a hired florist disturb you days before our engagement." Gabriel did not answer. Marco looked at Emma. "Where did you find the idea for red roses?" Emma could feel the danger behind the question. She pointed toward the windows. The room needed warmth. Marco held her gaze. "Be careful with warmth inside this house. Fire spreads quickly." Gabriel moved between them. "Is that advice for her or for me?" Marco smiled again. "For anyone standing close to dry flowers." He left the ballroom. Emma released the breath she had been holding. Gabriel spoke without looking at her. "Keep the red arrangements." Celeste stared at him. "Gabriel, six arrangement," he said. Nothing more. Emma understood what he was doing. He was not ready to reveal the note, but he wanted to see who reacted. Celeste followed him from the ballroom. Her anger remained behind like perfume. That afternoon, Gabriel summoned Emma to the library. The room had dark shelves, leather furniture, and windows overlooking the river. 2 guards stood outside. Gabriel was alone beside a table covered with old photographs. Emma saw images of Elena Moretti in the greenhouse. In every photograph, Elena stood beside white roses. She never smiled. Gabriel pointed to the images. These were taken during the final year of her life. Emma examined one. The woman wore a long blue dress. Her hand rested against a white rose bush, but her fingers were curled away from the thorns. A faint bruise marked her wrist. Emma picked up another photograph. Elena stood beside Antonio Moretti. He held her waist. White roses filled the background. Her eyes were directed toward a red flower, barely visible near the edge of the frame. Emma touched the photograph. There. Gabriel leaned closer. Their shoulders almost touched. A single red rose grew behind the stone wall. Gabriel placed another image beside it. The next month, it was gone. Your father removed it. He ordered every red rose destroyed after my mother died. Why? He said, they reminded him of blood. Emma looked at him. Or they reminded him that she resisted. Gabriel watched her face instead of the photographs. You speak as though flowers carry evidence. They carry choices. Choices carry evidence. He opened a leather journal. The pages contained garden plans, dates, and flower names. Can you read this? It is English. Not the words, the pattern. Emma sat at the table. Elena had recorded arrangements using old flower meanings. Rosemary for remembrance. Rue for regret. Red roses for courage and love. White roses for silence. Oleander for danger. Emma turned several pages. The combinations repeated beside dates. She was keeping a record. Of what Emma pointed to, one entry. White roses. Re. And oleander. Silence. Regret. And danger. Gabriel read the date. That was the night my father broke the arm of one of our drivers. Another entry combined white roses with bruised lavender. Emma looked at the date. What happened that night? Gabriel did not answer immediately. My mother fell down the stairs. She did not fall. His eyes lifted to hers. You cannot know that. No. But she wrote silence beside injury. Gabriel placed both hands on the table. His scarred knuckles whitened. Emma closed the journal. You do not have to read everything today. I have spent 26 years waiting to read it. The control in his voice broke for one moment. Emma saw the 9-year-old boy beneath the Mafia Boss. A child who had been taught that his mother was fragile, dishonest, and responsible for her own death. Her hand moved toward his. She stopped before touching him. Gabriel noticed. His gaze dropped to the small distance between their hands. Why did you stop? Because I do not know whether you need comfort or space. Most people assume I need obedience. You do not. His eyes returned to hers. What do I need? The truth. Something dangerous passed between them. Not desire alone. Recognition. Gabriel slowly moved his hand until his fingers rested beside hers. Close enough to touch, but not touching. Then a gunshot shattered the library window. Gabriel moved before Emma understood the sound. He pulled her from the chair and covered her body with his. Glass exploded across the carpet. A second bullet struck the wall. Guards rushed inside. Gabriel drew a weapon from beneath the table. Emma was pressed against his chest. One arm held her behind him. His heartbeat remained controlled. Stay down. Another shot came from the riverside of the estate. Gabriel fired through the broken window. Men shouted outside. An engine roared beyond the gardens. Then silence returned. Gabriel turned toward Emma. Blood marked her cheek. His expression changed. Where are you hurt? I am not. He touched the side of her face. His thumb came away red. Glass, she said. His hand remained against her skin. For one suspended moment, the guards, the broken window, and the smell of gunpowder disappeared. Gabriel looked at the thin cut as though someone had placed a blade against his own throat. Whoever fired had aimed at the chair where Emma had been sitting. Gabriel gave immediate orders. Lock every gate. Search the shoreline. Nobody leaves. Emma stood. The shot was meant for me. Gabriel did not deny it. Only 3 people knew you were in this room. You, Nora, the guards, and Celeste, he said. Emma looked at him. How she saw you enter. Gabriel turned to his security chief. Bring Celeste to the west drawing room. Keep Marco inside the estate. The guard left. Emma touched the cut on her cheek. Gabriel caught her wrist. Do not. It is barely bleeding. You were almost killed. His calm voice had disappeared. Emma looked into his eyes. Now are you frightened? His grip softened. But he did not release her. Not of you. The answer changed the air. Gabriel called a doctor. Emma refused stitches. The doctor placed a narrow bandage along her cheek and left the room. Gabriel remained beside the window, speaking to his men. The shooter had escaped by boat. The bullet was a type used by a rival organization from New Jersey. The evidence felt too convenient. Emma listened until Gabriel ended the call. Someone wants you to blame a rival family. He turned. Why? Because that is what I would do if I wanted you looking outside the house instead of inside it. Gabriel crossed the room. You should leave the estate. Emma laughed without humor. Your gates are locked. When they open, you will return to Brooklyn under guard. And the letter, I will handle it. Your mother left it inside a flower vase. She wanted someone who understood it to find it. She wrote my name on the envelope. She also wrote about red roses because words were not safe. Gabrielle stared at her. Emma continued. Someone shot through that window because I can read the garden journal. Sending me away will not make me safe. It will only make me easier to reach. His jaw tightened. Staying near me does not make anyone safe. Then give me a better choice. Gabriel stepped closer. There is no better choice. That was the first time Emma saw fear in him. Not fear of a bullet. Fear of attachment. Gabriel had built his life around control. Protecting a stranger was strategy. Needing her alive was something else. Emma pulled her wrist from his hand. I will finish the engagement flowers. I will help you understand the journal. After that, I leave. He looked at the bandage on her cheek. You believe you can walk away from this house after learning who killed my mother. I believe I can walk away from any man who thinks protection gives him ownership. Gabriel became very still. Did someone teach you that lesson? My father loved my mother. He also believed love gave him the right to decide everything for her. Where she worked, who she spoke to, how money was spent. He was not cruel, but every small decision became a wall. Why did she stay? Because she loved him. Because leaving is not simple when affection and control live in the same house. Gabriel looked toward the white roses visible through the ballroom doors. My mother tried to leave. Yes. And someone killed her. Probably. His voice dropped. If I find the person responsible, there will be nothing gentle about what happens. Emma held his gaze. I did not ask for gentleness. What are you asking for? Do not become the prison she tried to escape. The words struck him harder than the bullet had. Gabriel turned away. For the rest of the day, he did not speak to Emma. Yet 2 armed guards followed her everywhere. That evening, Emma found a tray of food inside her room and a new lock installed on the window. Beside the tray rested a single red rose. There was no note. There did not need to be. The next 2 days changed the rhythm of the estate. Emma worked in the ballroom during daylight and studied the journal with Gabriel after dinner. He rarely discussed his emotions, but every page forced another memory into the open. He remembered his mother teaching him to plant rosemary. He remembered white roses appearing outside her bedroom after nights when shouting filled the western wing. He remembered Marco carrying him away from the greenhouse while his mother screamed his name. Emma helped him separate memory from the stories that had been placed around it. In return, Gabriel revealed pieces of himself reluctantly. He had taken control of the Moretti organization after his father died. He had eliminated men who opposed him. He had built legitimate companies around an empire that still relied on fear. He did not apologize for what he was. Emma did not ask him to. She only refused to be impressed by power. That fascinated him more than admiration ever could. On the second night, they worked inside the restored conservatory. Gabriel had ordered the broken lamps repaired. Warm light moved across the old glass walls. Emma found a coded sequence in the journal. Red rose, rosemary, black tulip, rue, love, memory, power, regret. The same combination appeared beside 5 dates. Gabriel recognized the final date. The week before my mother died, my father transferred control of several companies to Marco. Maybe Elena discovered it. Gabriel moved behind Emma to examine the page. His chest nearly touched her back. She felt the heat of him before he placed one hand on the table beside hers. What does the black tulip mean? He asked. Power. Sometimes forbidden love. Sometimes something rare that cannot exist naturally. His voice was close to her ear. Which meaning would she have used? Emma turned. They were suddenly face to face. Neither moved. I do not know. Gabriel lifted his hand toward the bandage on her cheek. His fingers stopped before touching her. Emma remembered the moment in the library. You stopped, she whispered. His eyes remained on the cut. I do not know whether you need comfort or space. She felt her breath catch. Comfort. His fingertips touched her cheek. The contact was gentle enough to hurt. Gabriel had probably touched weapons with more familiarity than he touched another person. His hand remained against her face while the silence between them became intimate. Then the conservatory door opened. Celeste stood in the entrance. Gabriel lowered his hand. Celeste looked from him to Emma. The musicians need approval for tomorrow. Gabriel closed the journal. I will review the list later. Celeste remained in the doorway. May I speak with you privately? Anything involving the engagement can be said here. Her expression hardened. This does not involve flowers. Then Emma will decide whether she wants to leave. Emma stood. I have arrangements to finish. Gabriel looked at her. Take a guard. I am crossing one hallway. Take two. Celeste watched Emma leave. The moment the door closed, her voice became sharper. You are humiliating me. Gabriel returned the journal to its case. How? You touch her in rooms where staff can see. Staff who discuss what happens in my home do not remain employed. That is not the point. What is the point? Celeste stepped toward him. Our engagement unites two families. Investors are attending tomorrow. Senators are attending. Every major organization on the Eastern Coast will be watching us. Then stand beside me and smile. While the florist rearranges your mother memories and looks at you as though she understands you, Gabriel's eyes became cold. She discovered something important. She discovered a way into your attention. Are you jealous? I am not foolish. Celeste reached for him. Gabriel stepped back. The movement was small. It revealed everything. Celeste lowered her hand. What did she find in the conservatory? Gabriel watched her carefully. Why do you think she found anything? Because the room was opened. Who told you? Celeste paused. Nora. Nora does not report to you. She reports to the estate. The estate is mine. Celeste smiled. Tomorrow? Part of it becomes ours. Gabriel walked past her. Nothing becomes yours tomorrow. It is an engagement celebration, not a coronation. Her face changed after he left. The tenderness vanished. Only calculation remained. That night, someone entered Emma's room. She woke to the sound of the window lock breaking. A figure moved through the darkness. Emma rolled from the bed as a gloved hand reached for her. She grabbed the lamp and struck the intruder across the shoulder. The man cursed. Emma ran toward the door. He caught the back of her nightshirt and pulled her down. She kicked hard, reached the security button beside the bed, and pressed it. The alarm did not sound. The button had been disconnected. The intruder wrapped an arm around her throat. Give me the letter. I do not have it. He tightened his grip. Where did Moretti put it? Emma drove her elbow backward. He released her for 1 second. The bedroom door exploded inward. Gabriel entered with a weapon raised. The intruder pulled Emma in front of him and placed a knife against her throat. Gabriel stopped. His expression was terrifyingly calm. Release her. Drop the gun. Gabriel lowered the weapon. Emma felt the blade press closer. The intruder moved toward the broken window. Gabriel looked directly at Emma. His eyes shifted once toward the floor. Emma understood. She let her knees collapse. The intruder lost his shield. Gabriel fired. The bullet struck the man's shoulder. Guards rushed into the room and dragged him away from Emma. Gabriel reached her before anyone else. He pulled her against his chest. For several seconds, his arms held her too tightly. Emma could feel the violence in his breathing. Are you hurt? No. The knife touched you. It did not cut me. Gabriel lifted her face and examined her throat. His hands were shaking. The Mafia Boss, who had remained calm beneath gunfire, was shaking. Emma touched his wrist. Gabriel. His eyes met hers. The man asked about the letter. I heard him. The security alarm was disconnected. Only my senior staff can access that system. He pulled off his jacket and placed it around her shoulders. Then he turned toward his guards. Keep him alive. The order carried more menace than an execution. Gabriel escorted Emma to his private rooms. She stopped at the entrance. I can stay in another guest room. No. Your guards can watch the hallway. No. She looked at him. You cannot answer every disagreement with one word. Tonight I can. Emma entered only because she saw the fear he was trying to hide. His bedroom was larger than her entire apartment. Dark windows overlooked the river. A single painting of the old conservatory hung above the fireplace. Gabriel placed his weapon on the table. You will sleep here. Where will you sleep? Outside the door. That is absurd. I will not close my eyes while someone inside this estate wants you dead. Emma held the jacket around herself. You could sleep on the sofa. Gabriel looked at her. You are inviting me to stay in the room. I am preventing the head of a criminal empire from sleeping on a hallway floor. I would not be on the floor. The image almost made her smile. Almost. Gabriel noticed. You find this amusing. A little. A man tried to kill you. And you appear offended by the furniture. He moved closer. I am offended because you are still pretending this does not frighten you. Emma looked down. Her hands had begun trembling. Gabriel reached for them. This time, he did not stop. He held both of her hands between his. The warmth and strength of his grip made her fear finally break through. I could not breathe, she whispered. His face changed. When he held my throat, I thought I would die without anyone knowing why. I would have known. That is not comforting. It is the only promise I can make without lying. Emma looked at him. What promise? If someone takes you from me, I will find you. From me. The words hung between them. Gabriel realized what he had said. He released one of her hands. But she held the other. You are becoming possessive. I was possessive before I met you. That does not make it better. No, his honesty disarmed her. Emma looked toward the bed. I will sleep. You can use the sofa. Gabriel remained still. What he lifted his free hand and touched the edge of the jacket around her shoulders. Nobody has worn this jacket before. Emma looked at the expensive black fabric. Would you like it back? No. His voice became quieter. That is the problem. The emotional distance between them finally collapsed. Emma rose onto her toes. Gabriel lowered his head. Their mouths were only inches apart when someone knocked on the door. Gabriel closed his eyes briefly. The restraint in his face looked painful. What he called. A guard answered from the hallway. The intruder is dead. Gabriel opened the door. How poison capsule hidden inside a damaged tooth. Who was he? No identification. Marco recognized a tattoo connected to the Dario family. Emma came closer. The family from New Jersey, Gabriel nodded. The evidence points toward them again. Too perfectly, Emma said. Gabriel looked at the guard. Search the body again. Search his clothing. Blood. Dental work. Everything. After the guard left, Gabriel closed the door. Emma removed his jacket. The moment between them was gone, but the need behind it remained. The engagement celebration began the following evening. Black vehicles arrived through the gates. Cameras gathered outside. Guests entered beneath white rose arches while armed guards watched from the balconies. Emma wore a dark green dress Nora had provided. The fabric followed her curves without hiding them. Her hair fell over her shoulders. She had no interest in competing with the wealthy women in the ballroom. Still, when Gabriel saw her, he forgot what Marco was saying. Emma noticed. So did Celeste. The ballroom contained hundreds of white roses and 6 arrangements of deep red. Emma had placed the painted vase from the conservatory in the center of the main table. Gabriel approached her before the ceremony. You used the vase. Your mother hid the truth inside it. It belongs at the center. Celeste will object. She has objected to everything I have done. Gabriel looked over. Emma dress. You should not stand near the exits. Why? They are the most vulnerable points. I am working. Tonight. You remain where I can see you. Emma raised an eyebrow. That sounds like an order. It is a request delivered by a man who is not skilled at requests. She studied him, then asked properly. Gabriel glanced at the crowd. Stay where I can see you. Emma, please. The final word sounded unfamiliar in his mouth. She nodded. I will. Celeste approached in a silver gown. Her smile was perfect. The photographers are ready. Gabriel did not move. Celeste looked at Emma. There's a problem with the central arrangement. Emma turned toward the table. What problem? It contains red roses. That was approved. By whom? Me, Gabriel said. Celeste kept smiling. The family photographs require white flowers, then take different photographs. Whispers moved through the nearby guests. Celeste lowered her voice. We discussed this. You spoke. I listened. That was not agreement. Emma felt tension spreading around them. Celeste looked toward the painted vase. Remove the red flowers. No, Gabriel said. The answer was final. Celeste turned to Emma. Leave us. Emma began to step away. Gabriel caught her hand. Stay. His fingers closed around hers in full view of the ballroom. The whispers became louder. Celeste stared at their joined hands. Gabriel released Emma, slowly. But the damage was complete. The feared mafia boss had refused to stand beside his fiancée unless the florist remained near him. The ceremony began. A senator raised a glass. Marco spoke about loyalty between the Moretti and Voss families. Celeste stood beside Gabriel beneath the central arrangement. Emma watched from several feet away. When Celeste began speaking about Elena Moretti, something inside Emma tightened. Elena believed white roses represented forgiveness. Celeste announced, Tonight, they remind us that love can overcome every disagreement. Emma could not remain silent. Forgiveness without truth is only another form of silence. The words were not loud. The ballroom heard them. Celeste turned. Excuse me, Emma, felt every eye settle on her. She should have apologized. She thought of the hidden note. She thought of Elena trapped inside a beautiful house while flowers arrived after every act of cruelty. White roses did not comfort her, Emma said. They frightened her. Celeste's face became pale. You know nothing about Elena. Emma looked at Gabriel. He had not given her permission to reveal the letter. His expression remained unreadable. Celeste stepped from the stage. This woman was hired to arrange flowers. Instead, she replaced my designs, entered private rooms, and invented a disgusting story about a dead woman. Gabriel spoke. Enough. Celeste ignored him. She took Emma's arm and pulled her toward the central table. Tell everyone what you claimed. Emma removed her arm. I did not claim anything. Then why did you put red roses inside an engagement dedicated to the mother of Gabriel? Because Elena wrote that white roses arrived after her husband hurt her. The ballroom fell silent. Marco stopped moving. Celeste looked toward Gabriel. She is lying. Gabriel's eyes remained on Marco. Emma continued. Elena planned to leave on the night she died. Marco reached beneath his jacket. Gabriel's bodyguards reacted instantly. Weapons appeared around the ballroom. Guests screamed and moved away from the tables. Marco slowly raised his empty hands. Habit, he said. Gabriel looked at Emma. Tell me why you changed the flowers. She held his gaze. Because your mother asked you to choose what survived. Gabriel looked at the white arrangement above the table. Then he lifted the silver candle lighter. Celeste stepped toward him. Gabriel, do not. He touched the flame to a white petal. Fire moved across the arrangement. The orchestra stopped playing. Gabriel watched the roses burn. Remove every white rose from this estate. The order changed everything. Bodyguards tore the arrangements from the ballroom, while smoke rose toward the chandeliers. Celeste accused Emma of destroying the engagement. Gabriel replied without looking at her. Then the engagement was designed around a lie. He turned toward Emma. You will remain in this ballroom. Celeste's voice shook with rage. Why? Gabriel looked at his fiancée. Because she is the only person here who told me the truth before knowing whether it would cost her life. The celebration ended in chaos. Guests fled from the estate. Reporters photographed smoke above the terraces. By midnight, every news station in New York carried images of the Moretti engagement burning. The public called it a romantic scandal. The criminal world understood it as a fracture between two powerful families. Celeste refused to leave the estate. Her father, Victor Voss, arrived before dawn with 6 armed men. Gabriel met him in the main hall. Emma watched from the upper landing. Victor demanded that the engagement continue. He argued that canceling it would weaken both organizations and invite rival families to attack. Gabriel remained calm. Your daughter used my mother as decoration. Your florist embarrassed her in front of half the city. Emma is not my florist. Victor looked toward the stairs. Then what is she? Gabriel followed his gaze. He did not answer. That silence was more dangerous than any declaration. Victor stepped closer. Send her away. Restore the engagement. We will explain the fire as an accident. Gabriel looked at Marco, who stood near the doors. Was the death of my mother an accident? Marco's expression did not change. We investigated it years ago. I did not ask what the investigation concluded. Victor spoke. This is madness. Gabriel turned toward him. Your family will leave my estate before sunrise. The agreement between us is suspended. Victor's face darkened. You will begin a war over a dead woman and a florist, Gabriel replied quietly. The war began when someone entered my home and put a knife against her throat. Emma felt the words across the distance. Victor followed his gaze again. This time, he understood. Gabriel was no longer protecting a witness. He was protecting the woman he could not bear to lose. After Victor left, Emma entered the library with Gabriel. The original note waited inside a locked glass case. She stood before it. You exposed the family publicly. They would have used the engagement to control the story. You also exposed me. Gabriel approached. You chose to speak. Because Celeste turned your mother pain into a speech, and I chose to burn the flowers. Emma looked at him. The image of the flames remained in her mind. You frightened everyone in that ballroom. Did I frighten you? Yes. His expression tightened. Emma continued. Not because of the fire. Because you looked relieved while everything burned. Gabriel turned toward the dark window. For years, those flowers were the only memory of her that I believed was pure. Now you know they were not. Now I know nothing was. Emma moved beside him. That is not true. She loved you. You know that from one note, she was trying to take you with her. Gabriel closed his eyes. I remembered something during the fire. What? The night she died, she came into my room wearing a red coat. She told me to dress quietly. Marco entered before we could leave. My father arrived later with white roses. Emma felt cold. What happened to you? They locked me inside the nursery. In the morning, Marco said my mother had driven away alone. She did not abandon you. No. His voice broke on the single word. Emma placed her hand against his chest. Gabriel covered it with his. The touch became an anchor. I built everything I have because I believe she chose freedom without me. He said, I thought power would make abandonment impossible. Emma looked up at him. Power cannot prevent someone from leaving. His hand tightened around hers. I know. She saw the fear return. If you discover the truth, I will still leave this estate. Why? Because my life is in Brooklyn. Your life was attacked twice. That does not make it yours. His face hardened. I can keep you safe here. Safety inside a locked house is still a locked house. Gabriel released her hand and stepped away. You compare me to my father. I am warning you not to become him. I am nothing like him. Then let me choose. The silence became painful. Gabriel opened the library door. Go back to Brooklyn tomorrow. Emma had wanted freedom. The speed with which he granted it still hurt. Will your guards follow me? Yes. Then I am not choosing. They will remain outside your building. For how long? Until the person responsible is dead? Emma looked at him. You speak of death as though it solves everything. In my world, it solves enough. She walked toward the door. Gabriel caught her hand. The touch contradicted the coldness in his face. Emma turned. He looked at her mouth. For 1 second, she thought he would kiss her. Instead, he released her. Return to your room. She left without answering. Emma returned to Brooklyn the next morning. 4 black vehicles followed her flower van. Her neighbors watched from windows as armed men positioned themselves outside Reed Flowers. Emma hated the attention. She also slept better knowing Gabriel had sent his best guards. For 2 days, she tried to return to normal life. Normal life refused to return. Customers entered to ask about the viral photographs from the engagement. Reporters called the shop. Strangers sent messages accusing her of seducing a powerful man. Others called her brave. Emma felt like neither a seductress nor a hero. She felt lonely. Gabriel did not visit. He sent no messages. Every morning, however, a red rose appeared outside the shop door before she arrived. On the 3rd day, Emma discovered a symbol drawn inside the garden journal copies she had taken. A black tulip beside a train. She remembered Elena's letter. If I do not reach the station. Emma searched old maps of the estate and found a private railway platform that had closed decades earlier. A service tunnel connected it to the eastern garden. She called Gabriel. He answered immediately. Are you safe? That was his first question. Yes. I found something. He arrived 20 minutes later. A convoy of black vehicles stopped outside the flower shop. Gabriel entered wearing a dark coat, followed by 2 guards. The room felt smaller around him. Emma locked the door. Your mother used a train symbol beside the black tulip. Forbidden power. Gabriel said, or a powerful person she could not name. Marco. Possibly. The old estate plans show a tunnel to a private railway platform. Gabriel looked at the map. My father sealed the eastern tunnel after her death. Why? He said the structure was unstable. Emma pointed to the journal. The final entry includes rosemary, red roses, and the train, memory, courage, and escape. Gabriel's eyes met hers. She hid something there. They returned to the estate before sunset. Workers opened the sealed tunnel beneath the conservatory. Behind a brick wall, they discovered a metal box. Inside were financial records, photographs, and a small recording device. The records showed secret payments from Antonio Moretti to Marco Bellini and Victor Voss. The photographs showed Elena meeting a private investigator. The recording device still contained 1 damaged file. A technician restored part of the audio. The voice of Elena filled the underground chamber. Antonio knows I plan to testify. Marco has the documents. Victor promised a car, but I no longer trust either of them. If I die, Gabriel must know that the companies belong to him. Marco changed the inheritance papers. The recording ended with a door opening. Then came the voice of Marco. You should not have involved the boy. Gabriel stood in complete silence. Emma reached for him. This time, he pulled her into his arms. He held her against him while the men around them looked away. His grief was quiet. That made it feel deeper. After several seconds, he whispered near her hair. She did not leave me. No. She was trying to save me. Yes. His arms tightened. Emma felt the exact moment grief became rage. Gabriel released her and turned toward his security chief. Find Marco. The guard made a call. Marco had already left the estate. So had Celeste. Gabriel ordered every airport, marina, and private road watched. Then the lights inside the tunnel went out. Gunfire erupted from the entrance. Gabriel pushed Emma behind the metal support column and covered her with his body. His guards returned fire. Bullets struck stone. A voice shouted from the darkness. Give us the box. Gabriel fired toward the tunnel entrance. Emma saw movement behind them. A second team had entered through the railway platform. They were trapped. Gabriel pulled Emma toward a narrow maintenance passage. Stay close. They ran through darkness while armed men followed. The passage opened inside the abandoned railway station beyond the eastern wall. Rain struck the broken roof. A black vehicle waited beside the old platform. The rear door opened. Celeste stepped out with a weapon in her hand. Emma stopped. Gabriel moved in front of her. Celeste pointed the weapon at his chest. Place the box on the ground. Gabriel held the metal case. You arranged the attacks. My father arranged the first one. Marco arranged the man in her room. Why? Celeste looked at Emma. Because she found the one thing that could destroy the alliance. Emma spoke. The truth. No. His weakness. Celeste looked at Gabriel. You were raised to survive betrayal, war, and blood. Then a florist walked into your house. And within 3 days you were willing to burn your own empire for her. Gabriel's voice remained calm. You mistake the empire for the decorations around it. Celeste raised the weapon toward Emma. Give me the box. Gabriel placed it on the ground. Emma stared at him. Celeste smiled. Move away from her. Gabriel took one step to the side. Another. Emma understood from his expression that he had a plan. Celeste approached the box. Gabriel moved. He caught her wrist before she could fire. The weapon discharged into the roof. Emma kicked the box away. Gunfire erupted behind them as the Moretti guards reached the platform. Celeste struck Gabriel with the weapon and turned toward Emma. She fired. Gabriel stepped between them. The bullet entered his side. He fell to one knee. Emma screamed his name. Celeste aimed again. Emma grabbed a broken wooden board and struck Celeste's arm. The weapon fell between the railway tracks. Celeste attacked her. They struggled near the edge of the platform. Emma was stronger. But Celeste fought with desperate cruelty. She caught Emma's hair and tried to push her onto the tracks. Gabriel rose despite the blood spreading across his shirt. He reached Celeste from behind and pulled her away. His hand closed around her throat. Celeste froze. Gabriel could have killed her. Everyone on the platform knew it. Emma stepped toward him. Do not. His eyes remained on Celeste. She shot me to reach you. I know. She tried to kill you. I know. His grip tightened. Emma placed her hand over his. Do not let her decide what you become. Gabriel looked at Emma. Slowly, he released Celeste. His guards dragged her away. Gabriel swayed. Emma caught him before he fell. Blood covered her hands. He looked at her face. Are you hurt? You were shot. And you are asking about me? Answer me. I am not hurt. Relief crossed his face. Then he collapsed against her. The image reached newspapers before dawn. Gabriel Moretti lying wounded on an abandoned railway platform. Emma Reed kneeling beside him in the rain. Her green dress covered in his blood. Her hands pressed against his wound while black vehicles surrounded them. Gabriel survived surgery. Emma remained beside his hospital bed for 2 nights. On the 3rd morning, he opened his eyes. His first word was her name. Emma stood from the chair. I am here. He tried to sit. Pain forced him back. Where is Celeste? Under guard. Marco missing. The box, safe. Gabriel studied her exhausted face. You stayed. You were unconscious. That is not an answer. Emma looked toward the window. I thought you were going to die. He reached for her hand. You asked me not to become my father. Yes. I listened. You nearly died while listening. A faint shadow of humor crossed his face. I will improve the timing. Emma sat beside him. Celeste said I was your weakness. Gabriel's fingers closed around hers. She was wrong. Emma looked at him. You are the only reason I did not kill her. That does not make you my weakness. What does it make me? His gaze held hers. The last part of me that I do not want covered in blood. Emma felt tears burn behind her eyes. Gabriel lifted her hand toward his mouth. He stopped before kissing her fingers. Always stopping, she whispered, until I know you are choosing me. Emma leaned forward and kissed him. The kiss was not gentle, because neither of them had reached this moment gently. Gabriel touched her face with one hand and pulled her closer. Every restrained glance, every interrupted touch, and every word they had refused to say broke open between them. When they separated, his forehead rested against hers. This changes nothing, Emma whispered. It changes everything. I will not live behind locked gates. Then the gates remain open for you. I will not abandon my shop. I will buy the building. No, I will repair the refrigerator. Emma almost laughed. You are negotiating badly. I have never negotiated for something I could not replace. The vulnerability in his words silenced her. Emma touched his face. I am not asking you to replace me. I am asking you to trust me. His eyes closed beneath her hand. That may be the most difficult thing you have demanded. Try. For you. He said. I will. Gabriel left the hospital 1 week later. He appeared to remove Emma from his life. The guards vanished from reed flowers. His calls stopped. The red roses no longer appeared outside the door. Then the police arrived at her shop. They found a Moretti emerald necklace inside a delivery box. Emma was arrested for stealing family valuables. News cameras waited outside. Celeste, released under a private agreement arranged by Victor Voss, told reporters that Emma had manipulated Gabriel and stolen from the estate. Gabriel made no public defense. Instead, he issued a statement saying Emma Reed was no longer connected to the Moretti family. Emma read the statement inside an interrogation room. The words felt like a knife. She knew Gabriel was capable of strategy. She also knew what abandonment felt like. After 6 hours, the charges were dismissed because the search warrant had been signed under false information. A Moretti attorney waited outside. Emma refused his vehicle. She returned to her shop alone. That night, someone broke into the store. Emma hid behind the counter while 2 men searched the workroom. They were not looking for money. They were looking for the original letter. One man spoke into a phone. It is not here. Check the cemetery before Moretti moves the grave. Emma recognized the voice answering through the speaker. Marco. After the men left, Emma called Gabriel. He did not answer. She called Nora. No answer. Then Emma understood. Gabriel had sent her away publicly because he wanted the traitors to believe she was unprotected. He expected them to search for the letter. He had used her as bait without telling her. Rage replaced heartbreak. Emma drove toward the Moretti cemetery. She knew it was dangerous. She also knew Marco believed something had been buried with Elena. The private cemetery stood behind an old stone chapel north of the city. Emma arrived shortly before dawn. A grave had already been opened. Marco stood beside it with Celeste and Victor Voss. 2 armed men dragged a metal container from beneath the coffin platform. Emma hid behind the chapel wall. Victor opened the container. Inside were copies of the inheritance documents and photographs of Antonio Moretti attacking Elena. Marco looked at Celeste. Burn everything. Emma stepped from hiding. You already destroyed the note. It did not erase what she wrote. Celeste turned. You should have stayed in Brooklyn. You should have chosen different flowers. Marco raised his weapon. Where is Gabriel? Emma heart pounded. I do not know. Marco smiled. He abandoned you. No. He used me. The realization hurt more when spoken aloud. Celeste approached. He finally remembered what you are. A temporary fascination. Emma looked at her. Then why are you standing inside an open grave before sunrise? Celeste's face hardened. Because Gabriel memorized the note before I burned it. He knew every word. Emma stared at her. Celeste had revealed more than she intended. She destroyed the note. Marco turned toward her. Enough. Emma understood the final secret. Celeste had entered the library. She had stolen the note and destroyed it before placing the emerald in Emma's delivery box. But Gabriel had expected it. The sound of engines filled the cemetery. Black vehicles entered through every gate. Moretti guards surrounded the chapel. Gabriel stepped from the first vehicle. He wore a black coat over the bandage at his side. His gaze found Emma. Relief appeared first, then anger. "What are you doing here?" Emma crossed her arms. "Discovering that you used me as bait?" Marco pointed his weapon at her. Gabriel stopped moving. The guards raised their weapons. Marco smiled. "You always loved dramatic entrances." Gabriel's eyes remained on Emma. "Did they hurt you?" "No." "Move away from the grave." Marco pressed the weapon closer to Emma. "She stays." Gabriel looked at his former mentor. "You stopped the car the night my mother tried to leave." Marco laughed softly. "Your mother was going to destroy everything your father built. She was going to expose him. She was going to give family records to the government. Your father ordered me to stop her." Victor interrupted. "Do not say another word." Marco looked at him. "Your car hit hers." Gabriel turned toward Victor. The father of Celeste stepped backward. Marco continued. "Victor forced her vehicle from the road. I arrived afterward. She was still alive." Gabriel's face became empty. "What did you do?" "I offered her a choice. She could remain silent and return to the estate. Or she could die beside the documents she planned to steal." Emma felt sick. "What did she choose?" Marco looked at Gabriel. "She said her son would become better than all of us." Gabriel slowly drew his weapon. Marco pressed his gun against Emma. "Drop it." Gabriel did not. Emma looked at him. His face contained 26 years of grief. "Do not," she whispered. Marco pulled her backward toward the chapel. Gabriel dropped his weapon. Victor suddenly reached for the documents inside the grave. Celeste shouted at him to stop. The distraction lasted 1 second. Emma drove her heel into Marco's foot and twisted away. Gabriel reached his weapon. Marco fired first. The bullet struck the stone beside Emma. Gabriel fired once. Marco fell. Victor ran toward the cemetery wall. Moretti guards captured him. Celeste stood beside the open grave, staring at her destroyed future. Gabriel crossed the distance to Emma. He caught her shoulders. "I told you to stay in Brooklyn." "No. You told the entire world I meant nothing to you. It was the only way to force them into the open. You could have trusted me. I could not risk you refusing. That was not your decision." His anger disappeared. Emma stepped back. "You promised the gates would remain open for me. Then you built another cage from lies." Gabriel looked toward the grave of his mother. "I was trying to keep you alive. Your mother probably heard those words from your father." The comparison struck him. Emma saw it. Gabriel looked down at the weapon in his hand. Then he gave it to his guard. He removed the communication device from his ear. He dismissed every man surrounding them until only Nora remained near the vehicles. Gabriel stood before Emma without guards, weapons, or commands. "You are right." She had expected resistance. His surrender hurt more. "I used your feelings because I believed the result justified it." He continued. "I told myself that losing your trust temporarily was better than losing your life permanently." Emma, eyes filled with tears. "You do not get to choose which part of me you destroy." "I know. Do you?" He looked at the grave. "My father built a prison from protection, apology, and fear. I believed I would recognize the walls because mine would look different." Emma remained silent. Gabriel faced her again. "I love you." The words carried no performance, no power, only truth. He continued. "I love you enough to know that saying it does not repair what I did. I love you enough to let you leave. I love you enough to accept that you may never return. Emma looked at the feared mafia boss, standing alone beside the grave of his mother. For the first time, Gabriel was not trying to control the ending. She walked away. He did not stop her. 3 weeks passed. Marco died from his wound after giving a full confession. Victor Voss lost control of his organization and faced charges created from the evidence Elena had hidden. Celeste disappeared from New York society under permanent Moretti surveillance. Gabriel canceled the engagement publicly. He also released documents proving that Elena had tried to expose years of violence and corruption. The world stopped remembering her as the delicate wife who loved white roses. People began remembering her as a woman who tried to escape. Emma reopened her flower shop. The refrigerator no longer clicked. A repair company had replaced the damaged motor without charge. Emma knew who had arranged it. But Gabriel never mentioned it. He did not visit. He did not send roses. He kept the promise he had finally learned to make. He gave her space. One morning, Nora entered the shop, carrying the painted vase from the conservatory. Emma stared at it. Gabriel asked me to return this to you. It belongs to his family. He said the truth survived because you found it. Emma touched the painted red roses. Is he well? Nora smiled faintly. No. Emma looked up. You asked. That afternoon, Emma drove to the Moretti cemetery. Gabriel stood beside the grave of his mother. The white roses had been removed. Bare soil surrounded the headstone. A shovel rested nearby. Gabriel turned when he heard her approach. He did not move toward her. Emma carried the painted vase in both hands. You gave this away. It was never mine. Neither was the letter. No. But she wrote it for you. Gabriel looked at the grave. I memorized every word. Emma placed the vase beside the headstone. What are you planting? Nothing yet. You do not know how to give orders to gardeners. That is not the same thing. No. Emma opened the bag she had brought. Inside rested a young red rose plant and several stems of rosemary. Gabriel watched her kneel beside the grave. Red roses for courage, she said. Rosemary for memory. He knelt opposite her. What grows between them? Emma looked into his eyes. That depends on the care they receive. Together. They placed the roots into the soil. Gabriel covered them gently. His hands, marked by scars and violence, moved with unexpected patience. When they finished, Emma sat back. Gabriel did not reach for her. He waited. I am still angry, she said. You should be. I do not know whether I can trust you completely. I will not ask you to. You will have to earn it. Every day, my shop stays mine. Yes. My choices stay mine. Yes. You do not place guards outside my door without telling me. His expression tightened. That condition may require negotiation. Emma raised an eyebrow. Gabriel lowered his head. I will tell you. She almost smiled. Almost. What happens when you become frightened again? I tell you the truth before I create a strategy. What happens when I disagree? I listen. And if you hate my decision, I leave the gate open. Emma reached across the fresh soil. Gabriel looked at her hand. Then he took it. She felt the careful strength in his grip. No possession. No command. A choice offered and returned. Emma moved closer. Gabriel touched her cheek where the cut from the library had healed. I thought you would never come back. I almost did not. What changed? Your mother asked you to choose what survived. His eyes darkened with emotion. And what survived? Emma looked at the red rose planted between them. The truth. She kissed him beneath the pale afternoon sky. There were no cameras. No chandeliers. And no burning ballroom. Only the grave of a woman who had fought to escape. The man who had finally understood her courage. And the woman who refused to love him inside a cage. Months later, the Eastern Conservatory opened again. Emma redesigned it with red roses. rosemary, wild lavender, and flowers that were allowed to grow beyond perfect lines. Gabriel never ordered a single white rose destroyed again. He simply stopped giving it power. Reed Flowers remained in Brooklyn. Gabriel visited after closing, usually with ridiculous excuses about arrangements needed for hotels that already employed professional designers. Emma always knew why he came. He came because her small shop was the only place where nobody feared him. He repaired shelves badly. He carried heavy soil bags without being asked. He learned the difference between flowers given as apology and flowers given with changed behavior. One evening, Emma found him standing outside the shop with a red rose in his hand. "Who is that for?" she asked. Gabriel looked at the flower. "A woman who taught me that love is not proven by what a man gives after causing pain. How is it proven? By what he chooses not to destroy." Emma opened the door. Gabriel remained outside. He waited for her invitation. She understood the meaning of that small restraint more deeply than any public declaration. "Come inside," she said. He crossed the threshold. Far above the city, red roses climbed the eastern wall of the Moretti Conservatory. They grew through rain, cold, and the shadows left behind by the past. Nobody ordered them cut down. Nobody locked the garden. And beside the grave of Elena Moretti, the first red rose opened beneath the morning sun.